Hey, this is Mike Zorns, also known as the Political Otter, coming to you from Ramstead Park in Toronto. And today is the day. We have the throne speech delivered by King Charles. In case you missed it, there's a couple of really interesting updates from the throne speech. I'm going to walk through them quickly here for you so you know what's going on. And let's start out with the overall tone and theme of what was talked about here. There was nothing that was unexpected. Very much the typical throne speech laying out the government's agenda for this section of Parliament, as well as what the vision for the next 24 months is going to look like. There is, of course, the big giant elephant in the room. King Charles himself was here to deliver the speech. The last time that Canada's head of state, the monarch, at the time, Queen Elizabeth II, delivered the throne speech was in 1957. So it's been 7 decades since we've last had our monarch here to deliver the speech. And the reason that it's significant is symbolic. There is no doubt that Carney ran heavily on a platform of sovereignty, of really ensuring that Canada works for all Canadians and helping to ensure that we are continually protecting ourselves against the threat of becoming the 51st state of America. So it was very importantly symbolic that we had King Charles here to deliver this speech. Now let's dive into the fun stuff. What the hell did he actually say? So, despite the fact that there was a large acknowledgement to the uncertainty that we're facing as a nation right now, and that the world is facing as we're seeing a change to globalization. If you've been following me for a little bit, you know that I probably see we're close to the end of globalization, is something that was addressed and kind of set the stage for the rest of the conversation, because it was not doom or gloom. It was not about existential crisis. It was really focused on the opportunity that the new world we're moving to is going to present for Canada. And I am going to quote. I am going to quote here: the opportunity to act big and think big. The opportunity to transform, the largest opportunity to transform our economy since the Second World War. A confident Canada can seize this opportunity, give ourselves far more than any power can take away. So we definitely saw a strong echoing of the same sentiments that Carney was saying throughout the course of the election campaign, but it was significant to hear it coming again from the voice of the monarch. This is a speech that was watched by a much larger audience than is typical, both domestically and internationally. So those statements of optimism, of the opportunity, of the vision being set forward for the country is pretty significant. A couple other fun little things to look at. One of the first ones that really struck me was building the strongest economy in the G7 by removing the barriers to internal trade, and that those barriers are going to be removed by Canada Day, July 1st. This is not new. Carney has been saying this since day one of his campaign. This time frame is outrageously aggressive and is going to require full buy-in from all provinces and territories. Well, we're in the midst of separation fires being stoked in Alberta. So it's going to be really interesting to see whether or not this can be achieved. But of course, I like this vision. One decision, one project. Building a department of major projects that's going to be a collaborative process with the provinces to ensure that all major projects And even though it wasn't said, it was very heavily hinted that this means energy pipeline as well as infrastructure for green energy gets decided once through one committee instead, and will reduce most major products approval time frame from 5 years to 2 years. Get more shit done faster? I like. On the housing crisis, of course, Carney has, with the throne speech, kept the same stance that he's had throughout the entirety of the campaign. Build more houses, going to increase modular home builds. This is going to be done with Canadian labor, Canadian resources, Canadian lumber, and Canadian financing. This is Canada for Canada, solving the supply problem side of our housing market to help ensure affordable housing, mixed with GST tax cuts for first-time home buyers, and the one that I like the most here, which is cutting the municipal development fee charges by half for all multi-unit housing. This means that the federal government, for the first time in a very long time, is stepping in at the municipal level to help ensure that the type of housing most needed for cities to develop and continue to grow is going to be available. These are broad strokes. There's a lot of small details to still work out. These are all good. Border security. We're going to give border control a little more authority and some new powers when it comes to inspection, specifically to help prevent stolen goods from leaving the country, specifically to help curb the problem and challenges of car theft in Canada. This one's new. This wasn't actually addressed during the campaign. I like hearing and seeing this. Also going to hire over 1,000 more RCMP members to help patrol, help with crime. We're going to see a tightening up on parole eligibility for multi-time repeat offenders, particularly when it comes to theft and home invasion. Also, very, very good things, undoing some of the things that I disliked about the Trudeau era Liberals. And we're also going to be investing heavily in more drones, more canines when it comes to the border to help prevent illegal drugs and illegal arms from crossing. Illegal arms in Canada, one of the biggest problems we've been dealing with over the past 10 years. I love all of this because it deals with the problem without infringing on the rights of law-abiding citizens and current gun owners. Again, all good things. The closing statements from King Charles in the throne speech really hit home as well. He's ended with the quote from Queen Elizabeth I that when she gave the throne speech in 1957, no nation can live onto itself. Great quote to be leaving off on. Canada has set an example for the world as a force for good. Canada is the true north and is indeed strong and free. Can't think of a better way to cap a speech. It is a very clear, very simply laid out agenda for what the government plans to achieve with this new parliament. And it is full of an incredible amount of symbolism that sends a message to the world that we are sovereign. We are not going to be absorbed by the United States. Honestly, I got next to zero complaints about this throne speech here. If I am going to critique, I would have liked a little bit more detail around the immigration plan and a little bit more than just the lip service that was given to Indigenous development, although the doubling of the Indigenous development fund so that Indigenous peoples and communities can be a bigger part of the big projects that are going to be coming through is a good thing. There are a few areas where I would have liked to have seen a little more, but all in all, I'm going to get, when it comes to a throne speech and the type of agenda, compared to the laundry lists that we used to see with Trudeau, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Those are my thoughts. Let's hear yours in the comments.